Okay. You all can see my screen. Good evening, code campers. Good evening, everyone. I hope you all had an amazing week and happy Children's Day to all of us as well. All right. So if you can hear me, you can just indicate by raising your hand. I think that's how we do it here. So I can just be sure that okay. That everyone can hear me. Okay, awesome. Thank you. All right. So this class is more like a, I don't know if I should call it a repetition of what we have done before with emphasis on design principles. This is to say that basically, based on our observation of um, the learners here, we deemed it fit that we should just have a class where we can interact and talk about design principles because everything, just like we had said in the previous class, like your whole being and essence as a designer, like your UI has to be appealing enough to make someone to even want to go through the experience, right? So everything today is a product of all your mentors and trainers, myself, David Khalid, Faith, CHE, and Shudi. So we'll just get right into it. All right. So today we'll be talking about design principles again, right? Um, Alignment, contrast, emphasis, visual hierarchy, typography, negative or white space, and then repetition. We we cannot overemphasize the importance of following design principles in all of your across all your designs because there is no how you're designing maybe a landing page, for example, and you're not you're not obeying the principle of maybe visual hierarchy. What's the first thing you want your users to see, right? So all of these principles, we're going to talk about them in depthly, right? So I urge all of us to, give it our best shot. Like just put your mind together and let's just go through this once and for all. Okay, so the first one we're talking about is alignment. Literally, alignment, just like the word sounds, alignment, how you arrange various items on the website, on the mobile app, on your Figma board, you know, in relation to the allowable regions or edges. So if, for example, now I am designing a mobile screen, for example, right, I can decide to align it to the left, to the right, to the top, vertically or bottom. I guess all of us have gotten our hands dirty on Figma, so these icons here don't look unfamiliar to us. So alignment cannot be overemphasized because I think it was in this class too, we said something about reading patterns. So if you want your users to, we know very well that our users would read from left to right, for example, right? So if you're aligning the element on a website, right, you choose, okay, I want my users to view everything from the left view, right? So when people are going through maybe the first section, the second section, there is a form of movement. So it's either they're moving from left to right, or everything is just centered. So we know that in some cases you may need to, you may start with left alignment. Like there's some website that they could start with left alignment, then at some point you will see where they put all the elements together. So I'm going to take us through a mental journey. So just like I said, just follow me, right? So you may decide to start with center, I'm sorry, with left, and then at some point there are a lot of elements you want to put out there. So you may just need to align them. But at the end of the day, your design just has to make sense to you, firstly, as a designer, right? Because if you're not proud of what you're doing, knowing that people are going to be on this website, empathy comes into play too. Because if I'm designing something and I'm not thinking about the people who are going to use this website, for example, that makes me not to fulfill myself as a designer. So obeying all the design principles is very necessary, is very important as a designer. So this is just for alignment. We'll do all of those in the practicals we'll just have shortly, but let's just go through all of these together. All right, so the next one is contrast. Contrast basically occurs when two or more visual elements in a composition are different. When you put a yellow text on a white background, the contrast is not too clear. And we observe most of those in most of the designs that were submitted. We know we say that when you're designing, or we talked about colors. So if you're designing a food ordering app, maybe you want to use orange and yellow, awesome. But at the same time, you still need to be sure and take note of the kind of colors you're using so that the contrast is there. We're not saying you're using something like red on black. There's still some shades of red and black that still works, right? But your elements need to contrast so that if it's a text, if it's a bundle of text, for example, people can read through the text easily without struggling to see what is written in this page, or maybe your call to action button is yellow, for example, and then the copy on that CTA button is white or like another shade of yellow. It's not, you're not being artistic. You're trying to solve a problem. And like we said, empathy. You're designing for people who cut across different spheres of life, right? So you just want everything to be easy enough for everyone to follow through. Okay. So the more these able to compare and comprehend what is being said. So just like I said, you don't use similar colors on each other. I remember it was in this class, I said something about all of us going back and reading up on complementary colors and analogous colors, all of those, because when you know what color to use against another kind of color, it helps in contrast, right? If, for example, you want an image to be in the background, and all of these principles, they're all working intertwined. So if you want an image to get background of maybe a text or something, let's say on a landing page, and you want an image to be on the background, awesome. But the image being on the background, the text should also be there. But what if you maybe put up a layer of shape or something, and then you put a color there so that your users are not struggling to see. They are seeing picture of food, they're also seeing picture of text, there's no contrast, everything just looks busy. So it's very important for you to take note of contrast. There can be contrast in your shape, in the color, in the layout, in your typography, in your alignment, just like you can see in this um, example here, where we have, sorry, someone says I'm lagging and breaking. Is it clearer now? Am I still lagging? I hope I've not been lagging all this while.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Okay, okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay, so contrast can also be seen like in shapes, colors. So just like this example we have here, we have the first text here, heading, and then we have another micro copy below it. And you can see that one can easily know that the very first thing here is what you want your users to see. So there's a contrast in the type. There is one that is bolder and bigger for people to see easily. Then the second one here, which basically is just wrong, like you're using heading and then the next text is having the same feel, the same width, the same height. There's no contrast. What do you want? What do I want my users to take note of? What's the major heading in this particular maybe group of text or something? So it's very important for you to take note of contrast, take note of contrast, take note of alignment. Then the next one we'll talk about is visual hierarchy. Hierarchy basically is organization of elements in a design composition, right? In order of importance. Order of importance. If on a page, for example, I want users to, maybe it's the micro copy I want to sell out there, right? It's not basically the image. So I will definitely make the micro copy to be very bold. Like people can see the easiest way to send and receive money in West Africa, right? Even though I know that the imagery too is also going to sell the value of this product, right? But visual hierarchy has to do with your arranging your design elements, you're composing everything, and then you're bringing out those salient points or those salient elements you want your users to take note of. That is in order of importance. And it could be done in scale, right? You can make your text bigger. If it's image you want people to take note of, you can make the image bigger. maybe you want people to, we know these websites where we see, okay, let's just go on this mental journey, right? So I want to say the easiest way to save and receive money in West Africa. And then I give save and receive money a different shade of color, probably the secondary color. Maybe I just give it maybe blue, and then the other texts are black, right? So people can just see that, okay, the very major thing I want my users to see is that easiest way to save and receive money. Then other texts, they are all important, right? But visual hierarchy in the sense that I want to create emphasis on that particular message or that particular information, right? So another way is through space, right? Where you apply a lot of white space. So maybe you want people to just observe this very big image in the middle, or maybe this very big type in the middle, right? So you just give it enough breathing space so everybody can focus on, okay, this is the very first thing I would see before I see this other one. So just like we can all see this image here. Like the image is a very blurry thing. It's a very blurring thing here. So I can just easily see that, okay, maybe this image now could just tell me that, okay, maybe this website is all about maybe it's a book, it's a cab riding app, or maybe something like Bolt or Uber, you know. So I feel like, when you obey design principles and then maybe you decide to test out your designs, there is a particular kind of testing you do, like the 5 second rule. So when users, you can just upload your design and then you just ask people to go through, like they should just look through maybe the landing page, for example, in 5 seconds. And then even in 5 seconds, I'm able to know what this website is about. Like within some seconds, I can be able to know what this website is about. Then to an extent, it has communicated the value of this website, right? And one of the ways that kind of information is being passed, or one of the ways that kind of message you want to pass is being done, one of the ways is when you obey design principles, maybe you apply the law of visual hierarchy. So the image that could just be there could be an image of maybe a very big aeroplane. Some of all these online booking websites, the very first thing you could see is maybe an airplane that is flying with, an airplane flying. They are not putting an image of something else, or maybe a bus. No. So at the end of the day, your design has to communicate the message you want to pass to your users. I hope I'm not too fast. Let me keep quiet for 2 seconds to be sure that I'm not too fast. I hope I'm not too fast. Okay, so silence means no, you're not. Okay, awesome. All right. So that's for visual hierarchy. And then we have typography, which I know I had trashed it well in the previous class. So it's basically the use of text in visual communication. Typography has two main purposes in design. The first one is to promote legibility. You want your users to see what they should be able to read what is on this website. So you're not using those kind of fonts that looks like you're trying to sign a signature. You're not using those kind of fonts that you use for wedding cards, or when they say Alvan gets married to Mary, for example. I hope there's no Mary here, so that it won't seem like I'm trying to do some connection. Okay, so let's say, for example, all those websites where we have, all these wedding websites, they're kind of fonts they use differ, right? So typography has to do with communication. So we mentioned the different kinds of fonts, right? So, like I said, the first is to promote. The first is to promote legibility. Okay. And another purpose of typography is around aesthetics, right? So if you want to add maybe some kind of glamour to a website, maybe it's a website for maybe a website for what's on my mind now? Okay, let's just say wedding website, right? So the kind of fonts we use is not those very serious calibri fonts, or those very strong calibri, serious-minded fonts that look like, we're not playing here. So typography is firstly to promote legibility, and also we can use it in an aesthetical way. So we are drawn to visually attractive designs that are clean and easy to the eyes. If you're using a kind of font or a kind of type that is too hard for people to read through, when you go to all these banking websites, all these banking applications, you will see very well that they're using types that you can read well. They are not using those kind of types that are difficult for someone to read through, right? So the kind of type you use has to be clean and easy for your users to see well. Okay, so we all know the serif, we all know the sans serif. We are drumming these things again, like we've not talked about it, but we are ringing it again, right? So now let's take, for example, the serif here. We can see that serif have small strokes found at the end of the serif letters. So it helps the serif to stand out well so that the reader can easily recognize the words on the page and read text legibly. Okay. So we see serif fonts basically in newspapers, in magazines, in books, and all of that. Then we have the sans serif. Traditionally, sans serif are used maybe for headings, for titles. We are ringing this thing again, like we've not said it before, but we are singing it again, right? So sans serif fonts are super versatile and they work for a range of brand identity styles. So you can see it in fashion, you can see it in consulting, you can see it in so many of those products, right, that are in existence. Then we have the script fonts, just like the website we did one time. I think it was in this class, we opened the Maldives kind of website and then we saw this kind of fonts we use. So if you notice, we didn't use a very serious block kind of fonts, like we use those kind of fonts that are script like. So you can read up on black letters and decorative fonts. This is your own personal, if you want to, but just read up on all of those. No knowledge is wasted. All right, so that's for typography. And then under typography, remember we talked about tracking, leading, and then we mentioned offhand, widows, and rags. I'm not sure I will say anything about offhand, widows, and rags again. Okay, so tracking is basically a term used to identify the way you decrease or increase the horizontal spacing between a range of letters or characters, just like we can see here. So the first word, they're all together, and then you add a little spacing in between. So that's what we call tracking, right? And then leading is basically a design aspect that determines how text is spaced vertically. We do all of those in the practical, like when we go over to Figma, but we are resounding these things again because going through the assignment, we observed that some of these principles were not followed. So let's just assume some people were not in class that day, right? So we'll just do all of those together. So you can observe these two chunks of text we have here. So the first one has like spacing in between, right? And then the next one, the spacing in between is a bit, it's not too um, apart like the first one we see. So that's basically leading. Then we have orphans, we have widows and rags. I just want us to type. Should I still talk about orphans, widows, and rags? Just tell me yes or no because we are moving to the next thing. I just want to see no. Awesome. So one person has said no. That means we had trashed. Okay. So he who says yes. Okay. I'm seeing so many no's. Okay. So we are saying yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Okay. Um. Okay. Okay. Thank you all for your yes and no's. Okay. So orphans basically orphans basically are those is a text that stands alone at the beginning of a chunk of text. What am I saying? Is a word that stands alone at the beginning of a chunk of text, right? So let's take for example now. Let's take for I don't want to see this chat, so I don't laugh. Okay, let's take for example. Let me just type some people that say they paid the same school fees. Okay, oh. I did not know that CodeCamp was not free. Leo. Okay, so I will just use this chunk of text to just explain that. So now this is an orphan. So when you have a chunk of text and then you one is just standing alone, but they are all together. Like let's say I'm saying Leo, I don't want to even use Leo self. So let's say Leo has a Marvel bag and he loves traveling to the Caribbean and to Maldives. So all of those texts. So just follow me, right? So if you just have Leo standing alone, that is an orphan. And it is one of the errors in typography that is supposed to not exist. Like if you're typing a chunk of text, like everything should just be together in a uniform way so that when your users are reading, their their reading pattern is not being broken. So that's just a little bit about orphans. And then widows occur at the end of a text. So let's say we have all of these written and then this text or this word here stands alone. So that's a widow. Then rags occur when we have something of this sort here. If you can see, this chunk of text is not in alignment, like everything just looks haphazard. So when you have a chunk of text and then everything looks haphazard in this format, it's called a rag. So how people solve this kind of problems is by arranging the text. Like you may not necessarily need to maybe enter the text at some point and then make sure that everything is looking well balanced. This is a little rag, but basically that's just about orphans, widows, and rags. So I think I can run back in. So for those that paid school fees, I hope if the answer is not clear enough, please, Google is your very best friend. Or I think I had shared that slide and the slide was quite comprehensive. Okay. So that's for typography. And then now we'll talk about spacing, right? So spacing, also known as negative space or white space, is also another very important element of design, right? So it allows your element to have breathing space, to have enough breathing space so that the message you want to pass to your users, it's easy for them to look through. Everything is not compacted together. Even if you have a very small frame, let's say a mobile screen, for example, you drag it down and then you make sure that all your elements have enough breathing space, right? So it also refers to the area of space that have no design elements inside of it. So just like you can see this Google Meet website, say, well, Google has one of the best designers in the world. Compared to this Naira land, I don't really know what's happening in this Naira land, but maybe this is their own way, since they are focusing on the Nigerian market and we like things sharp sharp or something of that sort. So, and if you can see this particular screen we have here, like everything looks cluttered up. I don't know the very first thing I want to see. I don't know if they want me to see ITEL or if they want me to see, Patricia. Like I can see that these are some adverts, right? But I can even see that there's a search button here, but it's very hard for me to observe this search button. Everything just seems to be getting my attention. So what if they had redesigned this particular page, such as you can have welcome to Naira Land, login, trending, whatever, blah, blah, blah. That could just be maybe in the top nav bar. And then we have the search bar in the middle. I'm even thinking of maybe we should do something of this sort in this class. Well, I don't think we will. Okay, so just comparing the both of them, we can see that these two websites now are totally very different, right? So it's very important for you to put spacing. And when we say spacing, it's not like you just leave. A very good example too is the Apple website. You can check out the Apple website on your own personal time. So the Apple website has enough white spacing around. You can just see an image of the Apple wristwatch and they just give it enough space so that when you're going through, I can still have the imagination in my head, like the very last time I went on that website. So going on that website, you can just, the very first page could just be the image of the latest MacBook. And then you're scrolling down, everything you're seeing, just enough breathing space. It just helps your element to stand out, which is a very important design principle that must be adhered or followed. Okay, and then the last one is repetition. Repetition basically means reusing the same element or similar element throughout your design. So when you repeat some certain elements in your design, it could bring a clear sense of unity and consistency, right? So that people can know that, okay, this um whatever this website is about, maybe you can repeat maybe in colors, or definitely if you're using one font consistently all through, so everything doesn't look all jumbled up. So repetition can be done with your typography, it can be done with shapes, it can be done with colors. You're not using all the colors in the Figma board. Like, you're not using all the colors available. You're using a particular set of colors. And all through that particular design, right, you are repeating it in a very matured way. I don't want to say in a matured way, but making use of understanding that, okay, you're not just mixing up things the way you want them to be mixed up, right? So repetition it reinforces an idea or a perception. And you can see some of those repetition in headers, right? They reuse the same colors, you can reuse the same images, as the case may be. So that is all about for design principles. Do we have any questions? Please, if you have questions, let me know. I'm waiting. Question, no question means they understand everything. Okay. Okay, no question. All right. So what we're going to do next is we're going to design something together, right? And this is for the sake of everyone, so we can just see. So we can just we're going to redesign something together on Figma. So since we have no questions, we'll just move over to our Figma board, where we're going to do something quick. All right, so let me just show you all, like, based on everything we have mentioned, where are these things? Something. Okay, so based on everything we have said, all the design principles, you can just look through this website together and just see that, okay, we have a very compelling microcopy. You can see what this website is about. You can actually see someone doing what he's about to travel, like he's having a travel bag, right? And then this is center alignment. The colors are looking vibrant because when it has to do with traveling, people are excited. Okay. Koladi, if you have a question, you can type your question. You can type your question. Okay, so you can see center alignment is being obeyed here. So we're going to design this same website now. here on Figma. I hope we have enough time. So we can just see how everything just works, like using all the Figma tools, using all our elements, and then we'll design this now in a mobile form. So this is, as designers, if you want to work on a project, definitely you would design responsively. There are some clients or some products you would work for. You will have to design, you'd have to design the mobile version and also the web version. So this is the web version, right? So we are going to design the mobile together. I hope there are no questions before we proceed. The mobile screen, if iPhone 11 or 13 is picked and the design is not fitting in the whole design, can we stretch the frame in height? Yes, you can stretch the frame in height. Of course, you can. So F is for frame, right? So sorry. Okay. So yes, answer to her question, Kolade's question. Yes, you can. You can scale the height. So you just, I think it's shift, but if you're using a MacBook, like you just tap on your command. So I've tapped on F now. I want to select the frame. So we want to design this landing page now, this landing page together, but we want it to be in a mobile view, in a mobile view. And one of the ways you can become better as a designer is feeding your eyes with lots of ideas. Just like we mentioned about the mood boards, you get lots of inspiration from Pinterest, Behance, so many of those websites. Just feeding your eyes will just make you see how a good design is supposed to look like, right? So we just start now. So the first thing we'll do is to select our frame, and then we want to use iPhone 11 Pro, for example, right? So sometimes people would say if you want to design a product, you can start from the web view before you go over to the mobile view. Well, it depends on which you want to start, right? But there are different ways this thing works, because the way you're going to design um, a web view will definitely be different from the way you design a mobile view. So we'll just get started now. So I'm going to rename this frame. Don't forget, it's very important for you to rename your frames. It helps to show that you're coordinated as a designer. Let's say mobile view. I hope this is clear enough, or do I need to zoom in? I think I should zoom in. Okay. All right, so I turn off my layout grid so it could help me as I am designing. So I could make this 5 and give it a margin of 24. So I know that everything I am designing, please turn on your layout grid when you want to start a design, whether it's for web or for mobile. When you turn it on, it helps you to ensure that all your elements are in check, like everything is not going to exceed these red lines we have here. So I've turned that on. I could actually turn it off, so I could just, be sure that everything I'm doing is in check. All right. So now we have this landing page here, right? And then we can see the logo, we can see the top nav bar, home, about us, destination, tour log. You can log in or you can sign up. So I will talk about everything together. So if you can notice now, the copy we have here is selling the value of this travel product, right? So you can get started on your exciting journey with us. So we have a team of experienced tourism professionals. I'm not sure we've talked about UX writing in this class, but it's very important for you to know how to use words well, because writing is designing as well. So you don't just use any copy. You can work in a team. It's very possible, right? You can get employed and work in a team that they have a team of UX writers and a team of content writers. But it's not in all situations, especially as newbies or new designers or junior designers. You may necessarily be given the task of you come up with the micro copy, all the copies that will be on the website, everything. You have the responsibility of coming up with them. I don't know if we may have time before the end of this CodeCamp 1.0. We could talk about UX writing, because UX writing, there's tonality, there's the kind of tone you use when you're talking to your users, right? So you're not just using any the way it's in your mind. You just say the you just say the way it's in your mind. No, like there's tone behind every kind of text you want to put out there to your users, because you know that your product is communicating and your design has to be as conversational as possible. So even if you're not present at that point in time, when people are going through your website, the website is like a sweet young girl that loves, that has a sweet voice, right? And is talking in a very sweet way. Not a website that seems like it's a robot that's designed it, and it's a robot that's, is coming up with all the content and all of that. Okay, so we'll just go right into it. All right, so we can see get started, right? So let's start with, I'll do lots of copying and pasting. Well, it's assumed that you may have, um, so we can see now that this background, there's a kind of shade that is here, right? We can all see that this is not totally FFF, like FFF is zero, is white. So it's a particular shade of orange. So I'll just I've selected my frame. So I'll make use of this eyedropper tool and I just hover on it. So if you can see, the color has changed a bit, right? So I'm going to just quickly copy this logo we have here, trap book. Okay, so we have this. Let me turn this on. I'm too fast, really. Okay, let me take it very slow now. How am I too fast? Is there anything I should see that? Okay. Okay. So now we know when you're designing for mobile, right? We are not going to have this home about destination. Everything will not just stand like this. You will necessarily need to give it a hamburger icon, right? Where we have a hamburger menu, that all the home about us, everything will just be inside there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just do I have the icon set here? I'm not sure I do. Let me let's see if I can. Sorry, just give me some minutes. I want to get an icon. So let's just download it together. Um, so we're going to download this together. Can't see my screen. Really? I hope you can see my screen now. Okay, so we usually see this icon on most of our websites. So it's called a hamburger. So it just helps your users to um, know that, okay, we have a certain, like there's still more information if you tap on this particular tab. So just download it. This is non-project. If you have like maybe a Figma file that has most of these icons, like we have all of those, but I want us to download together. So get this icon, basic download. I'll download SVG. Remember, we said you download SVG, not PNG. When you're downloading SVG, it helps you to be able to make changes to the colors, right? So you can make changes on the colors, the shapes, everything. But if you download PNG, you may not be able to make all those changes. So just download SVG. So I think it's in. Okay. So we have this here. So now another thing, you should know how to resize your elements inside Figma, right? So you don't just click it and drag like this. Are you seeing what's happening? This is not the way it works, right? You tap on this node here. You all can hear me, right? Please just follow through. All right. So you tap on the node, then you can hold your shift key, then you click and drag. So this helps everything to just be uniform. So you're not you're not doing this because I saw most of the designs, people where you want to resize something and then you just click and drag. No, it's not being done that way. You need to maintain all the width. So you can just click and drag. Let's see. I'm doing everything manually from the scratching point. Okay. So I could just have this. Let's see if I could do this. Let me turn this on. Alignment. Okay, so I could turn this off, then continue with what I want to do. So now I know very well that home, about, destination, all of this is going to, if users tap on this, this is what they are going to see. So let's download another icon. Cancel. Let me see if cancel works because I just want to get X. I don't know about this. So now knowing very well that as a designer, you're designing for different user states. I know we mentioned different user states. So when users tap on the hamburger, they'll see the list of the home, about us, everything. So when they don't tap on that, what's the other word? The other screen they should see should be maybe like an X there. So I'll just download this one. I think this would work for us. Get this icon, basic download. We'll download SVG. So I have this here. I hope I'm not too fast. Command C key to import. So I've imported this. Most times I just
Okay, so while we wait for Design Tree to come back on the call, if you have a question, just raise your hand. If you have a question, just raise your hand if you have a question on what's done so far. Okay, just one person. Okay, Osas, go ahead.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, my question is about good UX and bad UX. The thing is, those ads that we have on app, does it does that count for bad UX or good UX? Because at times it makes the application itself kind of very frustrating. So those ads in itself, does it count for good UX and bad UX?
Okay, so let's look, stay unmuted, stay unmuted. Okay, so you have used applications where ads pop up, right?
Yes.
How do you feel when you see an ad?
Most times it's frustrating. Very.
Sorry?
I said most times it's very frustrating.
Okay. Or that have you ever seen an ad that does not disturb you?
No.
Sorry?
No, I've not seen one.
You haven't. Okay,
Yes.
so I'm going to allow Trudy to answer, but this is what I'm going to say, of course. Now, people display ads on applications, websites. Of course, it has a monetary value. So to an extent, they don't really, I don't want to say they don't really care, okay, but I just want to display my ad, so where you possibly click on it and earn value. Of course, when displaying ads on, let's say, a website, for example, there are certain places it can be placed, of which when going through that process, for any of you who have actually, I don't know, you're not developers actually, if there's a developer here who has actually done that or someone, you would understand what I'm saying. So when you, Google actually just shows you, okay, fine, this is where we place the ad, this is where we place the ad. Now, the truth is, I would, if I'm someone who actually builds an application, I would want to put it in a place where you'd actually, or to an extent, mistakenly touch it. So it's not user friendly, but it is friendly to me as someone who has the application, because I even want you to click it so that I'll make money. Okay. So it's not really a design issue per se. Okay. It's not with respect to what you guys are doing per se. Okay. Of course, the applications where they place the ads maybe below, okay, or so it doesn't really. Of course, there are banners. They're what we call banners. Okay, banners are the ones that when you actually open up, the one that takes the full. Sorry, just the rectangular ones. Then the ones that takes the full screen. Okay, so it's not like a UI UX designer designed an application and designed an ad on it. Okay, so
Okay.
you can call it, yeah, just like you say, you just said, you can call it a bad UX for the product. So it's not like a designer thing. It's not like you, when you're designing your application, you now design an ad. You will not tell Google where to place your ad. You understand? It's not like you design a place for them per se. Okay, so yeah, in the aspect of users actually using the application, yes, of course, you can actually say it's a bad UX, okay, but not in the context of you designing. It's just in the context of someone who the owner wanting to make money, and then users don't really like it, okay. But of course, that's why you see options of pay, and then we will remove it for you because we want to make money. It was not in the initial plan. Designers are giving me my product, but I want my product to display ad, whether you like it or not. It's not like there's no color problem, there's no contrast issue, alignment, all those things are not there. It's just value. Okay.
Popping up anyhow.
Yes, those are they just want to make money. Okay. It's stressful, it's annoying, and the likes, of course. But the truth is, if you build a product, you would want to display ad because it's one way to make money. You understand? The same thing irritates you. If you want to build a website and you want to make money from it, and probably AdSense and the like, you want to display ads. Of course, you have to. You disturb people, and the reason you're bugging them You understand? You tell them that, look, if you want to cancel it, just pay me the least 500 naira, 1,000 naira, $20, and you're free. It's just a way to make money. Does it disturb the user? Yes, and we know it disturbs the user. So that's one. It's like that's one bad UX that we do on purpose. When I say we, I'm actually talking based on the fact that I'm a developer. Okay, of course, if the client says display ads, we will display the ad. Okay, so that's just that. Um, Femi, I hope I answered your question. Let me just be sure. You can just reply that on the chat. Femi, okay, ask your question, and I think your Design Tree is back. Or ask your question.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, according to my own design, I did my recipe app like it's a community where you can like also follow professional chefs. Hello? On the
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
where
Go
you
ahead.
you can message, you can get feedback. But what I want to understand is all this application, I don't know how it works. Because for it to be a professional chef on an app, I don't know how they get to make money. Because I was thinking, should I make like a subscription page or something like that? Because I don't know, like maybe number of likes have any effect on, or number of followers have any effect on like the money entering into the professional's pocket. So I don't know if there's any necessity to always have a subscription page or something like that.
Okay. Wait. Are we talking about the task right now? Don't unmute. Don't unmute. Don't unmute because I want to understand what just happened there. Hello, Femi. Are we talking about the task that you were given?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, the thing is, I went beyond what we were
Okay.
told to do. Like
Okay.
I want to do it. Every assignment you are giving, I go for that, like making it like a personal project.
Okay. Okay. And
Just to
you're
do
trying
it
to
myself.
like
So I just
you're
yes,
trying to look
yes.
at the monetary aspect. How do you make money from it or something like that? Okay.
Yes,
So
for the care for it.
okay. Okay, so the thing is that it's why for every product there's a product manager because there's a business to every product. Okay, making money, there are a lot of ways you can actually make money on such an application. Okay, there are a lot of ways. Subscriptions, it could be since it's a chef stuff. Now, let me give you this idea. Well, anyone who wants to take it, it's fine. Now, if you're a chef, you can actually sell your recipes. Okay, so selling of recipes could be a way to to make money. So of course they can create the recipe and then share. It's just maybe shows to a particular point, and then if you pay, you get to see the whole thing. You can subscribe to a chef's but mailing list or something like that with an amount, and you get daily tips or whatever. So there are a lot of things you can actually do, to move ahead. Okay, I like the fact that you're actually doing more, okay, than you are asked to do, which is fine as long as you make sure the one you were asked to do, you do that in the most brilliant way possible. So going ahead is also fine. But this is a business stuff, okay? So you may need to actually, do some research, okay? You need to actually, research because you need to know what other platform does or probably what the user is willing to pay for, okay? Not everything is worth it for a user. Okay, not everything is worth it for a user. So just take note of that. Okay, so I think we'll go ahead with the class. Design Chi, I don't know, are you ready? Is she back? Okay, Femi, you still have a question. Femi, are you good or you still have a question? You can raise your hand if you do. If there's any other person, can raise your hand quickly. No other question. No other question. We're fine. You can also ask on the chat if probably you don't want to stand out.
Okay. Sorry everyone. I didn't know my network had acted funny. Okay, so I guess we'll just continue now. You all can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you. Right.
Okay, so I'll just share my screen. Wow. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Right.
Okay. All right. So we'll just continue. Sorry. Okay, so we are redesigning this website in a mobile responsive way. So the last thing I think we just downloaded these icons. So yeah, we'll just proceed. So now we have come up with this hamburger to let our users that will be on this landing page know that okay, there are more content here. So you're not going to the way we have home, about, destination, tour, blog, you're not going to put all of those outlines up here. This is how it's been done. Best practices for designing mobile. All right. So there's one thing I learned when I started designing, that images speak 1,000 words. So I know that we have get started like on this exciting journey with us, right? So best practices, it's advisable, right, for the image to come before the text. It's advisable for the image to come before the text. I hope my screen is still showing. What's happening?
Yes, you can see your screen.
Okay. Okay, so it's advisable for the image to come before the text. So I'm just going to paste this image here, alignments. As long as the image is inside the frame, as long as this image is inside the frame, right? Once I tap on any of these alignments, it just follows through. But if it is not inside, you'll see that it will just be all scattered around. So I'll just tap on center. We're trying to, okay, so we have this now. Get started on this exciting journey with us. Let me change this typo. I think we can say on the exciting journey with us, right? And then I think we have some elements here. So I will just cut this and paste this. Paste this behind. Let me turn on my columns to be sure that you all. Okay. I think maybe it's my Zoom or something. Okay. I think everyone can see me. Where did I get the frame from? What frame? What frame are you asking of? Leo, can you, is it Leo? Why is Leo just in my mouth? um, where did I get the frame? I don't know what frame you're talking about. Maybe you can resize. Okay, the small airplanes, they were actually here. The airplanes were actually here. So I just copied it and pasted it since we are designing what we have already. But you know, in situations such as this, like based on user experience, you would know that you want your users to, like, you want the application to look very lively, right? So you can just choose to use icons in the background. So I think I'm seeing one question here. Why am I not downloading the why am I downloading the icons and not getting them from plugins? There are different ways to design. There are different ways to kill a rat, right? You can choose to use plugins very acceptably. You can choose to, just like I think I have this design community here, like, so these are all icons, but I'm just showing you all different different ways to do a design. So I could choose to come through this screen and then choose any icon I want and paste it. Well, you should just know all the whole routes, like the different ways you can go to do something. Yeah, so that's the reason why I downloaded it that way. All right, so I'll just proceed then. So that was where I got these planes from. All right, so get started on your exciting journey with us. So based on spacing, to be sure that the space between, if you want to know the space between a particular element and another element, you tap on I think it's shift key. Okay, shift key for shift key if you're using shift key if you're using a if you're using a MacBook, you hold on your option key and then you hover on the other element, you would see exactly alt key for Windows. Thank you, Leo. All right. So if you're using a Mac, it's option, then you hover, you hold, you select the element you want to, you select one element and then you hover on the other one, holding your alt or option key. That is how you know the distance between both of them. Okay, so get started on your exciting journey with us. I will just turn this on to be sure that everything is in alignment. I could make this a bit bigger. Okay, and then I could turn this off. All right, so the next thing we have here is a team of experienced XYZ. I'll just copy this text since we do not really have any X and then a team of experienced tourism professionals, XYZ. Okay, sorry, sorry, Judy. All right, so this is Volkov and this is Poppins. Let me see if Volkov is in existence for this scene. Let me see. Okay, no, we want it to be readable. So I could increase the line height. So this is how you increase line height. If you click and drag, you can see what's happening. Or you can just manually, 20 is too small, 25. So I'm just showing us all of these because when you're designing, you may just have to make use of, like we said, just make use of your eyes, right? Because your eye is going to be your best friend. You cannot just design anything that is inside of you. Let's change this text to be 14. It's too big. Team of experienced tourism professionals. Okay. So when we talked about emphasis, so as you can see here, this journey has a different color, which is to show that we're trying to put emphasis on journey because it's a traveling agency, right? So you can decide to maybe create emphasis on exciting, dependent on what you as a designer want to do at that point in time. Okay, so most times when I'm designing, I love using my Figma Miro app. It just helps you to see what you're doing on the mobile app. But we've not gone into prototyping yet, so we'll just leave that for now. Okay. So we have this, and then the next thing we have here is this cover now. There are different ways to do a button. You can choose to use auto layout, or the very simplest way, you just create a shape, right? You just create a shape and probably change the corner radius so you can increase it or decrease it. So let's just create a shape. We don't want to copy that and paste it. So now there's one thing you should also take note of when you're designing, which is your, what's the word? Okay, so let's put it this way. When you're designing a mobile screen, right, there is a very first screen which your users are going to see, which would influence if they will decide to scroll down to see more content on the website. right? So that's like your viewport. So it's very important for you to try as much as possible to ensure that the CTA button is on the viewport so that users can actually, if you want them to discover now, if you want them to join the moving train, if you want them to register now, if you want them to create an account, right? So they can just, everything just has to be on that viewport. Like we said, I think we said something about landing pages. So all the information, the whole value of that website, right? The very major thing you want them to do before they even scroll down to see maybe what you need to do, exclusive deals and discounts, and all those plenty talk, right? So your viewports when you're designing for mobile as well as for websites too, like for desktop, is very important. Like all your information just needs to be inside the viewport, and you can know the viewport based on the default screen Figma gives you. So if I decide to extend this screen down now, just like we said, we can extend the height and make it longer, right? But I've just ensured that I just want to ensure that every information I want my users to see is on this viewport. So before they even choose to scroll down and go below, they can see the value of this website on the viewport. You can just take note of that. Okay, so we'll just create a CTA. We can use 48, and then let me turn this on. Remember that you're designing for users who are both left-handed and right-handed, because we saw some call to action buttons that were like this. And I was wondering, even a child, even if you're designing a mobile app that is for children, this is not a CTA. Like, you can't do this. There are best practices. I know I shared links to best practices for designing call to action buttons. So you don't just use any shape that's on your mind. Best practices, well, we have 48, which like is a full width, so that your users can actually, if you have left-handed users or right-handed users, they can tap on the CTA button easily without having to maybe stretch their fingers or something. Okay, so we can just give this 5 corner radius. Let me turn this off so that we can see it clearly. Okay, so the distance from here to here is 30, distance from here to here is 40. So I could just resize this and make this 30 just for uniformity. Okay. Okay, so we have this cover now. But let us just make ours to not be this color. Probably we're just going to copy this. So, but if you had created, okay, so I'll just type now, or let me just copy this. What's the word? Okay, we have discover now. So now we talked about contrast, right? If you can notice, this is not legible enough for my users to see. We are doing all these things and we are just taking, you don't use this kind of color here. Like, how would people be able to see discover now? So using one of the design principles where we talked about contrast, you can just decide to just use white. White is F, right? And then I center align it. I can see that it may not be too visible. So maybe I could make this to be medium or semi-bold. Let's see if we can increase the font size. But if at the beginning you must have created maybe a design system for your CTA. So this is just assuming that you have done all of those, but I want us to see how people create buttons. So you don't just give us something like this and say it is a CTA button. Please, it's not a CTA button. The button has to be healthy. Let me use the word healthy so that if someone is using their thumb on the website is easy enough for them to tap on, maybe create an account or whatever you want them to do. So we can decide to leave this plain, or should we give it an effect? Discover now. Maybe I could reduce this to 10%. I just want a little bit of shadow. Maybe 5%. I don't want too much shadow. Okay. All right, so we've gotten this cover now. So the next thing we can see here is this tab here where we have location, date, guests, external. Now, don't forget that you're designing for mobile, right? So you may have to probably break down. You may have to probably, it's really a technique designing for, like designing responsively, right? So if you're designing for mobile, you may not have to tap the location. Like, let me see if we just copy this now. Let me just show us something. Let me click and drag so that I hold Command Dash, okay? If I paste this out here, we can do something of this sort where we have location, dates. You want your user, this is like a tab where users will choose the location they want to go. So we have like a drop down menu, right? So when you're designing for mobile, you cannot just put the way we have it here in the web, that if a user taps on location, so this is just like the very first user state. So there will be another user state for when users tap on location, they will want to see a list of all the location where this travel is in existence. If they tap on they probably would need to see maybe a calendar kind of screen or a calendar kind of design, right? If they tap on guests, maybe the number of guests that may be traveling, right? So when you're designing for mobile, for example, you may have to break them down. So let's capture this now. My CV. Let me take this in here. If you want to resize the two parts at once, you hold Control. So let me have this here. I would ungroup all of this since this is all the content we need. Okay, so another thing now, you should also take note of when you're designing form fields, right? They're different. You can decide to have, let me ungroup this totally. You can decide to have, okay, you can decide to have this above here, and then I can place this here. Where are you going? Can be here. So I could just select this and then resize it together. So we have location 5. Where are you going? So this is for location 16. So now I just wanted to say something. So if you're designing and you don't give it this placeholder, so we call these placeholders, right? So you know there are some screens or there are some designs we've seen over time that once you start typing, once you just start typing, once maybe you just tap, okay, this is like a drop down, but we know those placeholders or those form fields where once you start typing, you may not even remember what you wanted to select or what you wanted to type in. So it's very important for you to include placeholders in your design. And so the placeholders could be above here, right? So if there are situations where we may not even see location here, you're just seeing where are you going, and then maybe this is where you're supposed to type where you're going to. You can decide to say, okay, it should be like a drop down, or maybe you want your users to manually type in where they are going to. So if you want to make it to be like, okay, they should manually type in where they are going to, we don't want to give them a list of all the cities where we're available. Having a placeholder is very important. So if you put in if you type in location, right, and then people start typing already, where are you going to? So your users can remember that, okay, this is what I'm actually trying to fill in here. I'm trying to fill in where I am going to, right? So I just felt like I could call that out. So having placeholders is very important. Okay, so we have location, where are you going? Okay, so we have date as well. So I'll just copy this and paste since we are having the same thing below. And then we have guest 2. So I could just click and drag. Okay, so we have location, we have date. And then the last thing we have is guests. When are you leaving? Let's just say number of guests. I feel like number of guests works. Okay, so I could group this. I want to be sure that everything is uniformed. So I select the 3 of them. Okay, they are all uniformed. All right, but if, for example, they weren't, let's say I had something of this sort. Did you notice that there's a change here under the alignment? So if everything were aligned, just like it were before, like I selected the 3 of this, I wanted to align it. This wasn't, no, I'm not using auto layout. I'm doing it manually. Like I said, there are different ways to kill a rat. So I'm not using auto layout. I'm doing it manually. Okay, so I could just select the 3 of them. All right, it's already aligned, so we can just proceed. All right, and then we have another button, which is explore now. Let me just copy this and paste it here. Okay, so now I wanted to say one small thing. Okay, so there are different ways one can decide to come up with something of this sort. For example, I could decide to have this, and then let me see something. I duplicate this, and I don't want to have them all spread out like this. So let's say I have this here. I hope I'm not too fast, shall I hope I'm not too fast. Please just tell me if I'm too fast. Okay, I guess I'm not too fast. I'll proceed there. Wow, I'm too fast. Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry if I'm too fast. I just wanted to show us a different layout, which one could decide to use. Okay, so let's say I will decide to create another here. Maybe give it a stroke instead. So we have this here. So what problem are you having while creating a button? Are you trying to use auto layout? You can just manually create a rectangle, right? Because the reason why we have all the auto layouts and components and variants, well, it's just to help the design process to be easier. But before all of those came into existence, people were designing manually, right? So it's important for you to know how to use either of the ways. At the end of the day, you still want to achieve one goal, because when you share this your design out with developers, they won't know if you use auto layout or if you use variants or if you use components, which all of those are very important, right? But they just want to see that the flow is easy, the UI is very simple to understand, right? So it's just basically applying design principles and making sure that your design looks um, visually appealing and easy to understand at the end of the day. So I'm just waiting for those that said I'm too fast. So I hope I'm not too fast again. So I could just proceed or all right, I'm not too fast. Okay. So let me see. Something that just came into my head, but I feel I'll still scratch it off. 1/6, 50%. I'm just trying to see something which I feel I'll still. Oh, who is this person? I think we should just stick with this one. So also one small thing, you're not forgetting that design is iterative. So whenever I want to design something, I usually have like 10 boards of different ideas, right? That I may just want to sell out at the end of the day. But at the end, you choose one. So what I just deleted was an idea that was coming to my head, but I'm remembering that we don't have enough time. And Nikes would soon come into my DM. Okay, so we're done with this explore now. Okay, so we've done this now. So we can actually design something for the hamburger. So let me just copy this and paste. I think this is enough for me. Command Control CV. I'm copying the whole thing. So I could maybe give this a background. I could just cover this with an overlay. Okay, so now everything that we've had here, Let's see if I could just. So in here now, I could have my everything that we had in the you guys are making me laugh now. Oh, code campus. Okay. I don't want to laugh. Okay. So we have this here. We just align this left alignment, tidy up. Okay. Then we have login and sign up. My student is unable to create button. Oh wait. Okay. Okay, let's just do it quickly. So Uzo, so just create a rectangle. Like leave everything you've done before and just create a rectangle. Like R, when you tap on R, right, you create a rectangle. Then we can give the height to be 48. Don't use auto layout now, just create it manually, right? Because sometimes auto layout could be very technical. That's why I'm not using it right now. Okay, so when you just create this, you can now give it maybe 5 corner radius. That's a CTA button. Please, I hope you've been able to do that. Okay. All right, so we can just have, let me cut this and paste this here. Change this to F, change this, we can leave it at orange. What about the one we always do? Double same city but different color. Double same city but different colors. Well, it depends. You know, we have primary buttons and secondary buttons. So if you want, if the very primary action you want your users to do is maybe discover now. So maybe alongside at some point when you're designing, probably for maybe let's say you ask them to create an account, right? And then they're putting in they've typed in all their they've typed in put in their name, all their details, then you can choose to use another kind of button. Well, it's just like variety. There are different applications to those. You can choose to have a CTA button that is just outline and then the field is empty. So yeah. All right, so we have home about. So if users tap on X, it will show them this screen. If they tap on this hamburger icon, it shows them this, so they can easily navigate through any of this. I think we had login and one other one. Is this sign up? Let me just. Okay. I'll select all of them to be sure that everything is aligned. Okay. Let me turn on my layout grid so that I'm sure that everything I'm doing. Okay. All right, so I could turn this off. So I just replicated it. So if, for example, we are done designing the whole of this whole page, then this brown overlay we have here will cut across the whole page. So I just wanted to show us the variation and how it works for designing for mobile. So you're not putting home, about, destination up here. This is what you do. And I guess we see it in most of the websites we navigate through. Okay, so the next thing we have here, we have things you need to do. All right, so we can just create another shape. So we are going to design another section now. I would select this frame and then I'm dragging it down. So we have this, and then we have I'm just going to use eyedropper to copy this. Okay, so we have things you need to do. Okay, so I'll just copy this here and okay, can we make the brown rectangle a bit bright? So it's really not visible for you to see. Okay, let's see if 90%. No, 90%. We're not being ratio the contrast. Okay, let's see if 95 works. Okay, I think 95, or I think let's just leave it at 95%. Thank you for calling that out. Okay, awesome. So the next thing we have here is things you need to do. Then we have is our airplane. So I'll just copy these same things and bring them down here. Okay, so let me just copy this. Let me just copy this. Let me just copy this and paste this here. Command XV. So now remember that for consistency, all your text just needs to, we've selected here, we've seen is 19. So we make sure that it's the same thing across so I will bring this down. So I'm sure that everything is in alignment. Okay, so we have things you need to do. So let me just select this frame to be sure that everything is inside. Okay, I hope I'm not too fast because we have some minutes to go. Okay, things you need to do. All right, so I'll turn this off so that I can see it visibly well. So you're seeing that we did not cluster all this, everything. We didn't put we didn't put we didn't do this. There's no spacing. So we are showing you that you you obey all the design principles and you see that your design looks, there's enough breathing space. So people can, you may even, I even feel like you may even feel like signing up on the platform. Right. So now we're now doing things you need to do. So we now have this. Well, I think after this, IQs can just take over. Okay, so let's just select this. I'll show you how you do something of this sort. So there are actually two ways. Let me take this out of here. So if, for example, I've not created, I could just create this shape manually, right? Let's leave this here and maybe make this 50%. So it's not fighting with 30%. Okay. So you're seeing that we had these aeroplanes up here and they seem to have been fighting with things you need to do. So in situations such as those, we said something about contrast and visual hierarchy. We want our users to see things you need to do. Maybe I could change this to the normal, to the color we've been using before now. So things you need to do. Or I may just want it to just be plain like that. All right, so you just make this to be lighter. So it's not struggling for attention too on the page. All right, so want to create these shapes here. Or since we have it already, I actually want to show us two different ways you can design something of this sort in. Okay, I think I should just quickly delete all of this. Okay, let me capture this one. Okay, so when you're designing for mobile, right, you can choose to put in the three frames inside the three elements. So we have an element of sign up, we have an element of worth your money, and then the exciting travels. Not also forgetting that the icons you're using need to be communicating the same thing the text is saying. So if you notice, it wasn't what you're seeing sign up here. So from sign up, it shows that from sign up, you can see the icon that shows maybe you may need to plan, process, put in all your details and all of that. Okay, we're also trying to tell you that it's worth your money, right? So there's an icon of okay, and then we have the exciting travels here. Okay, so we have three of these shapes. So I would just want to show us two different ways you can design it for mobile, right? So I can choose to have, let's, okay, I think this is too big for mobile. If I have this in here, you can see that it has occupied the whole space. So let me resize this a bit. I'm doing everything manually. Let me reduce this to maybe 24. See, 24 will be too small. Let me resize with my hand and see something. 24 is too big. Let's see 20. 14. This is 14. Okay. I can make this 20. This is 25. Let's see something. Okay. So we have these three here. So we usually see most of these apps where we can replicate this and put this under here so that users can know that, okay, we still have more content inside here. So I'm just going to hide this behind. Select the three of this if I think it is distributed evenly. Right, so in this kind of situation now, as a user, I could just know that if I'm swiping through, I could see other values that this product has to offer, right? Like the things I need to do. I can just say, okay, worth of money. So this is one of the ways to go in situations where you have so many elements or so many content which you just have to put. So you can actually do it this way, or I could just have this here. Let me take this out and bring it out here. How do the other options hide? I just copied and pasted it. Like if you just copy and paste, then you can click and drag. Like you just, let me do it again. So this is it. So I've copied and I've pasted it. I have it here. So I'm just clicking and dragging. You may need to zoom in a bit. You click and dragging. You click and dragging. Everything is inside the frame. So you just click and dragging. So, but if you're now designing, like, definitely you'll be designing a full website, for example. So you may have to show the developer that, okay, let's say these screens now are together. And then what we had here was another of these shapes. So I may just have to continue it from this other side, but I want to actually show something different. So this is just one of the ways users can know that, okay, we have other things here. You don't put it totally inside. It will be too hard for them to see. It should come out a little bit so that, your users can know that, okay, there's still more content hidden inside the frame. But if you swipe left or right, you can view it. Okay, so that's one of the ways. And then, or you can just manually. So this is if you want to save space, right? You can choose this actually method, or you just have all of them outlined here the way we have it. I just select three of them to, okay, let me turn this on. I like using my key to be sure that everything is inside. Margins are your best friend. They are never tired of you. So switching them on and off just helps you to be sure that everything is in alignment and everything is intact. Okay. So there are actually two ways, which is what I've shown us already. So I'm just going to cover all of this since this is what this section is about. So you differentiate sections with colors, or just like now, this section now, we decided to use this blue background. For the next section now, I may not choose to use this blue background. So you're trying to let your users know that, okay, we are having different sections in this website. So a particular section could be image in the background, right? So you don't just, everything will not just look like it's just the same from the beginning to the end. That's what makes your website look exciting and appealing for your users to look through. Okay, so I don't know if I have any question. I'm not sure. If there's any question, please let me know. Okay. All right. So, oh shoot. Okay. Aki, sorry, are you here? I think it's 7 already.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. I know that there's actually supposed to be another class in this same link, but I feel like we have done a great deal of work here. Um, so do we proceed, or do we have to end the class for now?
I think they're picking it out to like let them ask questions if they have.
I'm sorry, I didn't get to you, please.
I think they're picking it out to so let them ask questions if they have.
Okay, great. So if you have any question, you can just do well to ask now if we have any questions based on everything we've done so far or every.
Okay, Kenny, you can ask a question.
Sorry. Okay, Kenny, you can ask your question. Hello, can you hear me, Kenny? Can you please ask your question? Or if you can't hear me, probably Wilson, you can ask your question. You can unmute your mic and ask your question. Kolade, I hope I answered your question. I'm not allowing you on mute. Are you sure it's me? Ikis, I don't know. Can you give permission or something?
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to find out when you pull the screen down, what shows if is it going to be showing like it's another page, or what shows the end of a particular section or something? I don't know if you get the question.
Okay, like if. Okay, sorry, I don't really get the question. Maybe you
when
can.
you pull the page down, like you extend the
Yes. Okay.
Is it that something is going to, is it going to show that it's on another page, or what happens?
Okay, it will still be on the same page. It will still be on the same page. It will just look like you're scrolling down.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't it's not overflowing into another page as long as everything you're designing is inside this frame. Let me see if I can prototype this. Okay, let me see if I can just display this in a mobile. So basically, as long as everything you've designed is inside this frame, as you're scrolling down, everything will just be displaying. But like I said, the very major one of the things you just look out for is the viewport, so that users that would open the website for the first time, they can actually see there's actually a CTA button. Not, some website that the CTA button will be below. No, everything just like the very major thing you want them to do just has to be on the viewport, which is like that very first default port we had. So when I just tap on a frame, so the first thing everybody is saying here. So this is like your viewport.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
So you can see my screen, right?
Okay.
So this is just how it looks like. So if I'm scrolling down, you can see everything now. Can you see the transition?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Like
Is
you
there
can see it
anything
inside
like
a mobile.
phone? Okay.
You can see it inside a mobile phone, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So as I'm scrolling down, I can see everything inside the website. Yeah.
Is there anything like a best practice that maybe it has to be on another page, or it's just okay, keeps going down, or?
It just keeps going down because what you're designing, when it has to be on another page is dependent on if, just like now, if your users will tap on, that's where the user flow comes in. So if you want to say when users tap on discover now, it should take them to XYZ page that would have maybe a list of all the nice places people can travel to, right? So if I'm designing for Discover Now, I may have to change this to maybe Discover Now. So now, what will be on this page now will be everything I want my users to see when they tap on Discover Now. So if they tap on Discover Now, it will take them to another page. But now, basically, this page now contain everything that has to do with the landing page, all the information, just like what we have here, all the information we want our users to see. Everything will just be on the landing page. Yeah. So I hope that answers the
Yes,
question.
thank you.
Thank you, too. Okay, is there a reason why my prototype is always distorted? Like taking only half of the iPhone screen? I feel like you probably have used different frames and then you are prototyping on a different mobile screen. So what I used here was iPhone. What I used was iPhone 11 Pro. iPhone 11 Pro. So when I wanted to prototype, the same. I used the same frame which I had used at the beginning. So you have to use the same device size. Like if your frame size was iPhone 11 Pro, when you're prototyping and then you want to see it in a prototype mode, you have to choose the same phone frame. I hope that's clear. So the reason why yours must have been cutting out. So let me use, for example, now, instead of me to use the normal frame I use, I now decided to use maybe iPhone 8. Let's see. It's not even showing. So iPhone 8 is not that bad. Let me use a different one. Um, iPhone 13 Pro. Let's see how that's going to look. Okay, so you can see now that it's already distorted. We have like a this is not too good, but you can observe the difference. So I feel like you just need to use the same frame. Pro Max may even be worse. So I feel like this is the challenge you're having. So you just have to use the same frame size, the same phone size when you're prototyping. That's how it works. Thank you too. Okay, someone's hand is up. Okay, Wilson, you can ask your question.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I wanted to ask, there is this effect I normally see is easier on Photoshop to do. I've not been able to do it on Figma, where you have one like this CTA button, for example, we have Discover Now. On some landing pages, you see, for example, the left-hand side will be another shade of orange, while the right-hand side will be another shade of orange. For example, this Figma logo, where you have the K. If you notice this, the left-hand side is like a blue, then towards the down right-hand side is like a lemon color. How do I do that on Figma?
Okay, is it gradient?
Yes, gradient.
Okay, so this is how it works. You tap on fill. So when you select fill, you choose linear or radial. You choose linear. So let's choose linear, for example. So I'll just click and drag. So now I want to change this color to something else. So maybe I want this to be red or black or blue or maybe this. So that's how you can put gradient on Figma. So you can choose put another color in between. So the more the nodes, you can just play around with it.
All
You
right,
can
thank
add
you.
more nodes. Okay, awesome. Okay. Femi, you can ask your question, please.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
My question is, assuming there is a bottom bar where we have all those home search at the bottom of the screen.
Okay.
If we
Okay.
position it, if we are to position it, it should come in front, right? Of this one, assuming the way you extended this stuff now, the
Yes.
rectangle that you can scroll. So
Okay.
if we scroll, it won't affect it. It won't affect that stuff, Abby.
No, it wouldn't. So in that kind of situation, let me see if I can duplicate this screen. In that kind of situation, this is what happens. You may have to. So let's just assume that let me delete all these penalty things. Okay, let me still have it. So let's just assume that this is our home button, or this is the bottom nav bar. Let me do something quick. So let's just assume that this is what he's talking about. So we have this, and then maybe we can reshape this. Okay, we can reshape this. And then let's say we give this a background. So the reason I'm giving this a background is so that when I do what I just want to do now, and then there is scrolling through, it would, okay. So let's say we have this now. All right, so I could just group this and then I fix the position. You saw what I just did. I fix the position. So if I tap on, sorry, let me just delete something quickly. Let me delete. Okay, so let's say we have this, for example. We can see this. So let's just assume this is like the bottom nav bar. So when you fix position while scrolling, when you select that, so when you're scrolling, are you seeing it's not moving, it's still static? So that's how you apply, that's what you do in such a situation. So if you're designing a bottom nav bar and you know that that bottom nav bar, you don't want it won't be scrolling down as you're scrolling down. So what you do is that you fix the position so that when your users are scrolling, can you see? It's static, it's not moving. But if I had deselected this, you would see that as I'm scrolling, it's moving with me. I hope this answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you too. What's the question? Okay, sorry. Osaz, yeah, you can ask your question, please. Okay, how I
Right.
fix
So
position.
my question is
Okay,
for
I can hear you.
hello.
I can hear you. Proceed, please.
Right. My question is in contribution to what is it William, the color gradient affects the style guide.
If the color gradient will affect the style guide, that's if you had designed a style guide already, right?
Yes, yes.
Well, if at the beginning of the project you decide to use color gradient for your CTA buttons, it will just you just have to follow the same thing. I don't even understand your question, but I just designed this individually. So if at the beginning of your project, like we usually say, I had designed a style guide and said all my CTA buttons would have the gradients, I would, for consistency's sake, I would follow through across all my designs, right? But if you're designing manually, you just want a particular thing to have the color gradients. It won't affect other things. Like it won't affect the style guide or whatever color you have kept before now. I don't know if that answers your question, but they are not like is I don't know how to say it. Like they are not twins. Okay, should I say they are not twins? Okay, they are not twins, so to say, that you say if you make these changes, it will affect your style guide. It wouldn't, as long as you're designing them individually. Yeah. So I don't know if that answered your question, Osaz. Okay, someone said how did I fix the position? So you just select the element you want the position to be fixed, and then you tap on fix position when scrolling. Can you see it? Here in the property panel, if you tap on it, if you select it, once you're scrolling through, it won't shake. So the reason why I had put this background here, like the reason why I had put this other shape, if you notice, we have a shape here. Let me change the color so we can see. So the reason why I had put this other shape here, oh my God, what kind of color is this? Okay. So the reason why I had put this other, I'm changing the color so you can see that there's a shape under, is so that when users are scrolling down, like the shape is covering other content that could be behind the screen. So it doesn't make sense if, let's say, for example, I take out the shape, we have just this, right? See what's going to happen now. You can see it looks like it's children play. So you can see what is under. So best practice is you just put a shape under, like this is what I think, right, which I've been doing. Okay, so you just put a shape under so that when they are scrolling through, it shows that, okay, this is actually the bottom nav bar and it is what it is. Any further questions? Thank you too. Okay, Ineme Awaji, please ask your question.
We were given a task some time ago. I think it was to draw, replicate a boy fashion. There was a way the navigation texts were arranged. I don't know how to do that.
Sorry, can you rephrase your question one more time? I'm trying to understand so I could know how to respond.
Okay, I think it was last month we were given a task to do about a boy, a little boy. It was a fashion design, and the way the navigation texts were arranged, I didn't know how to do that.
Okay, if I could actually have a glimpse of, okay, so how was this navigation text like? Was it in a zigzag form? When you
No,
say
it was
navigation
aligned.
text,
It was aligned to the left, and then
okay,
it was in a vertical setting.
a vertical setting.
Yes.
So was it like this, like aligned to the left this way? Sorry? Okay,
I can't.
vertically aligned sidebar. Vertically aligned sidebar. I'm trying to vertically align. Okay. So let's say all of the icons. Let's assume that this hamburger, we have home, about, all of those were just here.
Yes.
So they were replicated in this form. That's a question, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so your question is what, like how to arrange it?
There was a way it was arranged. I don't know, it was like in the reverse method.
In the reverse of horizontal.
Yes.
Okay, so let's take, for example, this could have been the home icon. Then
Yes.
this could have been profile.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm trying to know what the challenge is because I'm doing something similar here. Okay, so are you saying
Sorry, let me help out. Is they are text, not icons. They are text. So I think it was you're going to turn it. They are texts that were written. Because if you use icons, you won't get what she's trying to say. So they were text.
okay, when you say text like this way, Ikechi, you're saying something? Oh
Yeah,
my god, did
please.
I delete something mistakenly?
Um, Inene Awaji, what stage are you now?
I'm in stage
Sorry,
5?
Stage 5.
Stage 5. That means you
Yes.
did the task. So how did you do the task?
It was a struggle. I did it, but it was a struggle. So I don't know if there was a way to do it. I didn't even know how I went about it, but I did it. So
okay, so is it something of this sort, like this?
yes, but the home was now vertical.
Vertical, like this way?
Yes. Yes.
And then about was
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
so I feel like maybe in that kind of situation, you just use the rotation tool here feature. So I could just turn this to 90.
Okay.
So I have all of them, but this looks like a funny UX to me. So I'll just manually shift all of this. Then I select all of them to be sure that the space in between is the same. Tidy up.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Wow.
Okay, Kenny, can you ask a question before we go home? Kenny, are you here?
Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. While doing the assignment on the app, the mobile recipe app, now
Okay.
you kept telling us about alignment, and then you mentioned somewhere that whatever our spaces are should be divisible by 8.
Whatever our what?
The spaces in between texts should be like something that can be divided by 8. Do you remember?
I mentioned that.
Yes. So I want to be sure because it's not everything that will be divisible by 8. I don't know to what extent we can do that because at times when trying to balance some of these things, if it's going to be divisible by 8, it may not flow with the grid.
Okay.
So I don't know which one takes the priority. Is it the grid or that is divisible by 8?
Okay, so in this situation, my best answer is just use your eye, like have a good eye for design, right? Because all these best practices were all developed by someone, right? And design is all about iteration. So if you observe that being divisible by 8 or whatever spacing you must have used doesn't really look appealing or good in your eye as a designer, you can actually make some tweaks. You can make some iterations. There is no hard or fast rule that if you don't follow this, there's going to be a problem. At the end of the day, if your design is just legible enough for your users to look through, that's just what matters. This is what I think. Yeah.
Okay. Thank
Thank you too.
Kenny, did you say the space you are asking us? Did you say space in between text? Is that what
Sorry, I didn't hear your question, please.
I'm saying? I'm talking to Kenny. Kenny, she said the space in between
Okay.
text. That's what I heard. I don't know.
I think she said the spacing between text or spacing between elements.
Yes, it's space in between elements and, trying to just align everything accordingly.
You're saying you tried making sure your space was divisible by 8, and some of them were not divisible by 8. You could not make them divisible by 8. I don't understand.
Yes, some while trying to make sure that it's divisible by 8, it may not really look well, or it may not follow the grid. So I was trying to find out which takes the upper hand. Is it the grid or that it's divisible by 8?
When you mean grid, you mean your margin, Abi? So it does not exceed the margin.
You said?
When you grid you're talking of, you mean so it doesn't exceed the margin. Like if you're using a margin of 16, sometimes when you're using spacing of 8, it might exceed the margin. So what are you going to do? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, if it's not going to be, in sync with the margin.
Okay. So I think the cases like that, you have most likely have, maybe let's say you want to put in images or boxes. That's when you have this issue. So what if you reduce the size of the box? Let's say if you're using a Magic 16, or you reduce the size of the box. If you have 3 boxes or you have 4 boxes, you check the distance you have and divide it by 4 and create your boxes and try to use that. That might work sometimes, because if you start using your eye design, some places you have space of 6, some places you have space of 8, and that beats one of the basic design principles, repetition, because your spacing in between elements matters a lot. Because let's say where you have categories, if the distance between category A and category B is 8, the distance between category B and C should also be 8. You have to find a way to make it 8, because when you make it 12, it now looks like that one now is something else. It's not under the category. So you are starting a new layout or something. So spacing matters a lot. So try to be consistent. If you are not going to use 8, anything you are going to use, try to maintain it. That's like basically what I'm trying to say. If 8 does not work for you and you are going to use 6, try to maintain 6. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your supporting explanation. I hope it's clearer for you, Kenny. To Kenny.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Akis, you can proceed, please.
Okay, so well, I think what I want to actually.
I'm sorry, we can't really hear you clearly, or I can't hear you clearly.
Okay, confirm you can hear me, please.
No, it's really faint.
Okay.
Like you're far from your mic.
Feels like you're a bit far from your microphone.
So is it better now?
Yes, it is.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can
Yes,
hear
it's
you.
better now. Better now.
Okay, so what I want to actually say is this. When it comes to I think I remember the class when the whole issue of the spacing, was being talked about. Okay, it's being divisible by 8 and the likes. And yes, I'm going to actually speak from a user perspective, okay, and also a learner perspective. Now, from the learner perspective, assuming I'm someone who is just learning from the mentors, I think I've gotten two things. Okay, so one is, okay, you can actually use the spacing of 8 between elements, okay, like Inchi rightly said. And of course, there's still a place where your eye actually comes to play. Okay, but I feel for the eye own, of course, you need to come to a certain level of experience, okay, for you to be able to spot, certain things, for you to do eye level design. Okay, now, but from a user perspective, I think this is where the concept of having probably a particular number as a yardstick, okay, let's say the whole divisible by 8, so probably having a 1 and 8, 16, 24, 32, and the likes. Now, a user actually, when check the width between, the fingers, the user's fingers when scrolling or wanting to click on something. Now, the reason for consistency in spacing, okay, is it possible? Can you design in such a way that I don't, in the process of trying to click one element, I go and click the next element? Okay, that is where spacing is very, very much important. Okay, because I wouldn't want to click on, let's say, let's assuming you have a button below discover now. Okay, I don't know if Designchi could actually just implement that. Now, if you have a button below discover, the same kind of button, but there's no very good amount of space between them, I could easily just click on, let's say this, the next text is discover tomorrow. Okay, I could easily just click on discover tomorrow, but I had the intention of clicking discover now. Okay, I could click on discover now, but probably had the intention of clicking discover tomorrow. So this is where the spacing rule comes in. Now, it shouldn't be too wide. That should it be too that is the word high or wide rather. Okay, the distance shouldn't be too much, neither should it be too less. Okay, because the idea is, look, I need to be able to click on elements separately, so they shouldn't be too far apart, neither should they be too close. Okay, so I don't know what it's called. I think probably they have a word for it. Is it thumb rule or something? Okay, so I think the concept of the 8. So please give a distance of 8 between discover now and any of them, anyone below. Just a distance of 8, between both of them. Okay, so yeah, so this is not too high, not too low. Okay, you could actually give another distance of 8. So it's more like you trying to there's a concept of it just having that even distribution. Okay, now it's not like it's not a cast on stone kind of thing, and it does not also mean, okay, this is from my own perspective, okay, it does not also mean that everything on your design must be divisible by 8. Does not mean that everything must, okay, but guidelines, okay, are there to actually help you, give at least something a user can be proud of, so you can be proud of rather, and the user can actually use. So these are guidelines, and of course they are flexible in a way. Okay, you can tweak them, so don't be rigid. Okay, don't be rigid. Don't feel that it must be. these are just guidelines that they have certain places where you should apply them, and there are places where you can actually just play around. So a distance of 8 is fairly a distance of 8 plus 8. You understand? It's still fine. So it's not like well, assuming, okay, let me just ask a question. Zenchi, can we just play? Let's do a bit of let's play around. Take the third side up button below. The third side below the other side up. Yeah. Take it below, give it a distance of yeah, let's okay, leave it there. Change the no, don't worry. Make it 4. Make it 4. The distance between the second one and discover now, make it 4. So this is an even number. Make it 5. Okay. So if you notice, see, the thing is you're giving space to it. It's not like the number doesn't matter. It matters, but just that it's a bit significant. It's in fact, it's relative, actually, if I'm to say, it's relative. There are persons who like design is actually a pro now, so she can actually use I and just give it to you 2 seconds. But for persons, for you that is actually learning, it's good to learn with guidelines. Okay, it's good to learn with guidelines, and the whole concept of divisibility by 8, I think you should follow it. Now, you get to a point where you're experienced enough to actually break out of certain or tweak certain guidelines, but don't start so early in breaking, in tweaking. Don't start so early. That's why I think Henry said something. This is not art. Okay, don't start so early to start showing your artistic nature. Follow the rules, follow the guidelines, follow the processes, but at the same time, know where the rules apply. Not every rule apply everywhere. Just know the particular place. That's why Yenchi asked, is it for elements or for text? So probably don't take divisibility by 8 and you feel, okay, you know what, it's everywhere, everything everywhere. No, there are certain places, okay? So let's just take note of that. Yenchi says she's still learning. Well, actually, everybody is, but there are levels to these things, actually. There are levels to these things. So let's just take notes of that. Okay. Do we have any question, any other question? Because I have a question I want to ask the learner. There's a reason I've actually allowed this class to go this long. I have a question. So, but do anybody have any question? Nobody. Okay, fine. Now let me ask my question, and there's a prize for this question, actually. Don't worry. Now, who here can actually cite Zenchi, you still have that slide, right? You have your slide. The slide you used. The slide you used. Yes. I think I've seen the tab. I think I can see the tab. Yeah, go to the very where you listed them. Okay, good. Now, who on this place no, mentors cannot answer Hechi. I need somebody to actually, with the design, show me the design principles that was used. The design, you can go back to the design now. Show me the design principles that were used on this design right now. Okay, please take out the sign up. Those 2 sign ups. Thank you. Now I need somebody to point out the design principles that were used. Show me, probably explain. Okay, you can just tell design, she'll just tell her where to go with the mouse. She'll just follow your lead. But I want someone to point out every design principle. If possible, tell me why it was used, why you feel it was actually used. Okay, so let me put out the price. Okay, the price is 5,000 naira. Whoever actually gets everything, 5,000.
Can I say something? Can I say something too?
Okay.
Can I also answer? No, I just mean,
no, you
like,
can't answer. You can't answer. You can't answer.
Okay.
For the learners.
Okay, I'm a code camper. I'm a code camper. Hey.
Nope. Mentors, stay away from me. Thank you very much. Okay, so only Kenny is ready to attempt. Only Kenny. Okay, Kenny, go ahead. Okay, Susan, okay. Okay, who else? Kenny, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. I may not be able to remember everything, but I just want to attempt. Typography.
Okay.
Is one of the things that is really evident there. And then the information hierarchy. information hierarchy is also prominent. At least we can see which one is like a title and then the text coming under each of them. Okay, and then apart from that, we could also see the colors. There's a good color contrast, if I can use it like that. You know, the colors, and that it's also consistent. Okay, so those are the things that I want to mention for now. Thank you.
Okay, she said
for
now
now.
too. maybe that for now can give her like 200. Okay, easy. Go ahead. Let's see.
Good evening, everyone.
Yes, go ahead.
Can you hear me? All right.
I can hear you.
Okay. Now, there's contrast was used here. Contrast was played with very well, and white spacing. White spacing was also used. The contrast part was where they used the button's color and the background, and also the text inside the button allows the user to be able to know what button he wants to click on, he or she wants to click on, and also the hold on, please, please can you scroll up design tree? Thank you. That's enough. Thanks. And now also in where we have the sections separating each background, we have the darker background behind the lighter one. So for clear readability.
I did not get you with that picture. Please come again.
Okay. I said here we are using the text, or how will I put it? I think it's hierarchy. There are the things you need to do, and the body text that comes below it itself.
Okay.
So we are able to distinguish between the header and the body.
Okay, that's fine. That's easy. So, so we have Susan, Emmanuel, Happiness, and we'll start. You know that person. Okay. So Susan, let's go.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, sorry, are we working with this designer she designed, or the first one that she showed where we have the KodeCamp and the UI principle?
The one you're seeing here, this one.
Okay. Yeah, first thing is the typography, and number two is the visual hierarchy, whereby we have the picture first, the typography, which are the headings for us to know that, okay, these are the next thing we are going to do. And yeah, alignment too. Alignment is also there, and that's all.
Okay. Okay. Emmanuel, go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, class.
Yeah, good evening.
First of all, the visual hierarchy started from the picture to the text underneath. Then the call to action button is legible. The text also followed the alignment, and there was repetition also. Also, the white spacing to allow users see just to allow users see what they are actually doing clearly. And I think that's it.
Okay. Over to you. Yeah, Happiness, are you with us?
Yeah, I am. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. First is the white space. So that was applied the distance between the text and the CTA to the end of the page. Then we have the alignment. If you check very well, even without using measurements, I think if a user should see this, you can see that the distance between the image and the text and the CTA buttons, they're all aligned. Then we have repetition. We have repetition in terms of text. You have repetition in terms of CTA buttons. That's making sure that you use the same text size and the same CTA button for the colors and all of that. Then you have the contrast in terms of, okay, the background of the mobile screen is not totally white, but if you're looking at I think the button that's on the location and the rest, yeah, that's white. So the contrast between that and the background is actually very good. Then you have hierarchy, visual hierarchy. You have the text, the text where you have get started on your exciting journey with us. That is like very eye-catching, and that's like what the user should see first. So I think that's where visual hierarchy was applied, seeing as that's what we wanted the user to see first. Then we have typography. We have typography in terms of texts, and that was aligned. Yeah, I think that's all. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Osas.
Okay, please wait. Also, please wait. Happiness, the text was aligned. You said the text was aligned what?
Hello?
Yeah, you said the text was aligned. Was it aligned? Like, was it center aligned, right aligned, left aligned? Which one?
Oh, it was aligned to left. Yeah, the left.
Left.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Oh.
Just left.
Osas, you can go on.
Okay, all right. First things first. What I noticed was the white space, the use of white space there was it was not really splashing too many colors in our eyes. So I think that was easy to easy for the eyes. Then there was the part of typography. There's part of the typography, showing difference between the header and the normal body text, and a little bit of emphasis on what you wanted us to see, with adding color to the journey. So that was really eye catchy for the user. And there's part of alignment also. Everything within within the margin, within the margin that was used for the design. It wasn't falling out of line out of that. Then for the contrast, when we're working on the CTA button, the color used for the text and the color used for the button, it was about the same thing initially, but we had to make it visible for the user to see. So there was that, and then I guess that's pretty much that. Visual hierarchy, what you wanted us to see, and all those things. I guess that's pretty much that. Thank you.
Okay. So, well, like I said, mentors will actually choose the person who they feel actually did justice to this. But before that, one of the things I want to say is this is the reason I want to do that. Because I saw a lot of submissions, and it's that actually disobeyed.
Aki, your mic, oh, your mic. Please
Okay.
don't play.
Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so the reason I'm actually doing this is because I saw a lot of submissions that deviated, went so far from making use of the basic principles. Okay, that were not obeying. In fact, okay, let me say it like this, they were disobeying the these principles. Okay, for some of us who attended the last review session, you could see some of the, now compare this to some of the things that we actually saw in the last class, where people were just splashing colors everywhere. Somebody used green as a background with whatever, okay, splashing of colors everywhere. Okay, people using different fonts, their typography, in fact, whatever font they just saw, oh wow, I'm seeing this signature font, wow, it's nice, let me just place it. There's no thought process into, does this actually resonate with the user? Is this something the user can actually see and appreciate? Okay, so I'm doing this now because I want you guys to apply these rules in your design. Like, see, I don't want he said Da Vinci in UI UX. I do not want mentors to review your design 2 times after this session. Okay, I need you to, because I already see someone is saying you've not reviewed my work, and I'm very, very certain, I am very certain, I know I can actually beat my chest and check that person's work, and I will actually see that some, if not all, of these rules were broken at some point. Okay, so I want you guys to apply these rules to your design. Don't miss out anyone. I don't want to see some careless spacing. I don't want to see unnecessary colors, just playing around everywhere. No, I do not want to see that. Okay, don't just choose. I'm seeing I don't want to say what I'm seeing right now. Okay, some persons, your text. Okay, let me actually call out a few persons. Okay, not really sure, but one of the person who actually said your design have not been reviewed. Okay, I'm seeing your button. I'm seeing inconsistency in your button. Your text are not even aligned to the center of your button. Now, so imagine, design, are you close to your, so if you can zoom in on your button. I don't know if you're still with us. Yeah, please zoom in. So imagine if this discover, I don't know, can you manually shift this discover? I think correct the typo, then shift it to the left a bit. No, just shift it. Don't forget about alignment, just shift it. Shift, drag it, leave it there. So no, come out a bit. So you can see someone's text. You can actually, now let me ask this on the chat, you can just say, so is this actually cool? Does this follow the rule? Okay, you understand? So and funny enough, okay, this may seem like a little thing, but it's you disobeying a rule. I want to show you the most minute things that some of you need to go and check, because you're all screaming for reviews. This may seem little, but it is very, very important. Okay, very important. Your spacing, your alignment, your colors. Don't mix colors anyhow. Don't mix it anyhow. This is not, it's not about you. It's not about your favorite color. Okay, so let's pay attention to that. So go back to your design and check for every place, every screen, please don't just go and fix it in one place and you feel you're done. Okay, yeah, design sheet, yes, we sure can, so when you're ready, let me know. So don't just make few, maybe you just touch here, you feel you're done. No, check every screen, every frame, okay, and then make sure that these frames, every element inside this frame, every design is following the rule. Okay, make sure that it is following the rule. Okay, so let's do just like three person reviews now. Okay, just 3-person reviews. We're just going to review 3 designs now. Just point a few things about it and then we are out of here. 3 persons. So I'm not going to call your names, but I'm just going to, so design sheet, I don't know, let me drop the link for you so you can actually, so this is going to be 1. So I'm just going to do it randomly. So I don't know, you can just pick that up and open it up and let's do that. So, because I want you guys to understand, and this person may feel this is actually okay, but there are still a few things that we need to point out. Okay, so let's just do it. Just so you guys know, I've actually had to cancel my class for you guys. Okay, because I really want you guys to get this. I really want you guys to get this. It is of utmost importance. It's of utmost importance. And I'm going to actually use persons who have recently actually submitted, because those ones are probably the ones that are actually seeking, who probably have gone through the videos and, you know, so let's see. Okay, so let's see. So design sheet probably, or should I?
Sorry, can you reshare it? Like, can you share it again? Because
okay.
I'm trying to see it from my system.
Okay, so yeah, I've just dropped it now for you.
I'm trying to, I can't access it from Zoom, like on my system.
Okay, so I think you prefer it on WhatsApp.
Maybe Slack would work.
Okay, whichever one would work. Let's actually just do it quickly for you guys. Okay, so yeah, confirm, please. Let's
I think it's coming through.
okay. So let's just do at least just 3 reviews, quick one, and then we'll call it timeout.
Okay,
so,
I'm trying to open the file now.
So so on the chat, first person who says I want a review, I'll look for your submission and put it up. First 2 persons rather. Ege Elvis and Susan, thank you very much. Okay, so Ege Elvis, what's your full name on Slack, please? What's your submission name? Can just drop it on the chat. Okay, good.
I'm still trying to open the Figma file. It's taking a long time. I don't know if the images are too much.
So, okay, let me just share and then we'll just do the criticism from my end. Okay, so let's confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, so let's start with this person.
Sorry to cut you, Ikes. I actually felt like I preferred to have opened it so that if I'm making the corrections, the person can see it.
Okay, so are you able to now?
It's still taking a long time to load. I don't know why.
I guess it's your network.
I think so too.
Okay, you want to apply corrections?
Exactly. Like I want to actually apply the corrections.
This is their task. So let's just do it. We're gonna be pointing out, yes.
Okay, we should just point out.
Yeah, let's just point out. They have to go and do the work. So let's start with this. Okay, so over to you. Okay, let's just do it. point out, and then we'll do the next two, and then let's round up. Okay.
Okay.
Once you're able to load it on your end, you just let me know. I'll stop sharing.
Okay. Okay. So I see that this is like a splash screen. The first screen where we have cooking a delicious food easily and discover more. So I'm trying to, this is how I give feedback. I tell you what is wrong, why it is wrong, and how you can make it better, which is why I wanted to share my screen so that maybe I could share ideas on how you can make it better. Probably, firstly, what is wrong here is the fact that everything seems to be calling for my attention. So I'm giving feedback now based on the onboarding screen or the very first screen, right? If you're saying onboarding, so let me even start from saying onboarding. Onboarding, like when you say an onboarding flow, we have like an onboarding screen is where you're selling the value of a particular product to individuals, to your users, right? And most times, best practices like what we have onboarding screens could probably have like the ellipses where we have the very first one that we showed, okay, this is a particular screen a user is on. So when you're renaming your pages, you should give it the name of what it actually is. So if you're doing onboarding pages, we know if it's just a splash screen that shows login or sign up or just the name or just the logo of the brand. So I just felt like calling that out. Okay, so another thing is the cooking is delicious. I don't know if the person is not even on this call, won't this feedback won't it just be a waste of time? What do you think? Because we should not just be giving feedback to people who are not on the call. Like if the owner of this design is not on this call, what do you think? Or do I just continue because maybe people could learn from it as well?
Well, I think you actually have a very good point. I think you have a very good point on that. So let's do this instead. Okay. So let's start with Susan. So this is Susan. So Susan is actually on the call. So Susan, let's start with your own design. Again, Elvis, don't worry, we'll come to you. We'll come to you. Okay.
Okay,
Don't
I
worry.
think I've been able to open one of the designs.
Which of them? Not the first one I sent.
Oh, okay. The first one you sent, I've been able to open. Okay, so which one should I open now? Susan.
Either,
okay.
yeah, you can open Susan. Let's see. If you're able to do that, then I'll hand over the sharing to you. So Susan and Ege, those two persons, I think those are the two reviews we'll take. We've actually spent more time than we should. So let's just handle those two.
Okay.
So this is Susan's. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, Susan. Is it the smart meal?
Yes, smart meal. So I should stop sharing now since you're able to. Okay.
Okay. So
okay, so you can share now.
Okay. Okay, my screen is visible, yeah?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So firstly, great work, Susan. I know this is your splash screen, which you labeled properly. I'm trying to, okay. So let's talk about this. I don't know, maybe this icon we have here, which is this icon this is an image. Why I think maybe you would have downloaded probably an SVG, just the way we downloaded the SVG file, right? So rather than putting in images which would show blurry, it may look like you're not, as a designer, you may not really know what you're doing. So and I know you know what you're doing. So rather than using images, best practice is just download an SVG. If, for example, this client doesn't have a logo for like an instance. Okay, so the smart meal, maybe you can make this text to be probably, I don't know, but it just feels like it's too. I'm just imagining it if I decided to play this screen, like if I decide to prototype it. So maybe you can make your text to be a bit smaller, right? The smart me, because this is actually a logo. So logos are not supposed to just blow up and fill up the whole screen. And splash screen showed for just few seconds. I know basically you want your users to, they should never ever forget this smart me, because me now will not forget it, because you even use red color, which is to enter the eye. Okay, so that's for splash screen. And so same thing is applicable here. Then for this okay, so I can see a little bit of inconsistency here on your CTA. So as you can see, I'm seeing 42 and then 28. So it's not center aligned. So you just have to like centralize your call to action button so that it is in a proper position on your frame. I'm really trying to understand why you're using a white CTA button with a red outline and then a shadow. I feel like so many things are happening at the same time. What if you just used a red background, for example, right? Since that was like your basic I feel like maybe that was like your primary color. So rather than having white background with outline, because most times why designers use an outline or maybe an invert of a primary button is because you know how we have create an account and then sign up, right? So create an account could be the primary CTA button, and then it is visible there that that's the major thing. And then we now have sign up, which could now be an outline icon, an outline CTA button, right? Maybe with an empty field. So I feel like you can work on that, and you should bring down this create an account and already have an account page. Like you can bring it down. Like I said, you can get inspirations from Dribble, social media. You will see that most times it's not just hanging up here. I feel like you can just bring it down, like just bring everything down. We know you want to obey negative space and enough white space, but apply the negative space with some like use there should be an eye for design, which is like what we said before. Okay, so this create an account. I feel like the my feedback usually is so detailed. How long are we going to stay here? Okay, this is 10 minutes past 8. Okay. All right. So this CTA, the copy on your CTA, this is 14 pixels. Okay. But when you're designing call to action buttons, you want the copy on the CTA to be visible enough for your users, right? So I feel like you can make this, you can maybe increase the width or you can increase the size. Okay. And also another thing, consistent. I feel like this call to action button and this one is not the same. They are different in height. They're different in size, except if they are not, and it's my eye that is playing with me. So rectangle, this one we have 52. So just try and be consistent with your call to action buttons. I love these onboarding pages you have here. Awesome. But please centralize these ellipses. Centralize the ellipses. Great use of imagery. But we're talking about a food platform, a food ordering platform. So you want to use colors and icons that would make your users feel like eating food. I'm trying to understand what this is. Is this like, okay, is this a search? Okay, let me understand. Okay, I feel maybe this is search for your favorite in a second. Okay. Okay, so this is like an icon to tell your users they can search for. Okay, awesome. But what if, for example, we have the image before the text, like if this was above and maybe this was beneath here, and probably um I don't know. These are just my thoughts. Designers will see things differently, but these are just my thoughts. So also these icons you're using here, these icons, sorry, not icons, these illustrations. If you want to use illustrations and you have a style guide that has some set of colors you're using for the brand, this is where you should apply those colors, because we're having yellow, like there seems to be a bit of disparity amongst all of them. So just for consistency's sake and for the fact that everything should just look like it belongs to one product, you may need to check out the colors you're using on the illustrations. Okay. Enjoy cooking. Okay, great work. That the lady looks like she's enjoying cooking. And then the bird. Okay. So another thing too, I will just give this like a general feedback. So when you're designing, right, we know that some products like using images, some products like using what's the word? Like using illustrations, right? So you should also think about the kind of users that will be using this application. Then it would also influence the decision you want to make concerning what kind of illustrations will you use. We know on Draw gives a lot of illustrations, but there are still some other websites that give like illustrations that look really lively, and if you get on the app, you may not just forget the experience in a hurry, right? So in some situations, you may choose to use illustrations. You may also think of using images, because if I actually saw images of maybe a lady that is cooking here, right, and then maybe for this search bar, I may not know, maybe, well, we have the search button here that shows that you're looking for something, but I'm just looking at the chicken. The chicken does not look happy somehow. I don't know if it's my eye, but maybe you can just look out for, like, just understand the concept I'm trying to sell though. All right, so that's for that. Also, please try as much as possible to ensure that your CTA buttons are consistent. Great work here in trying to come up with this thing. So I see what you're trying to do here. You're giving placeholders to this form field. Awesome. Hey, it's great to see you. Nice, awesome microcopy. Great, great, great. This is height is 45. Okay. Okay, let me give you this feedback, or let me just give you this idea. So if you want to design something of this, so just go on Google or go on Dribble and Behance and ask for, because people have designed pages such as this before. So even though you want to invent new ideas, you may just need to um, follow some principles that are already in existence and how some of these pages or these screens are being designed. Because something like this email address here, I don't know, but I feel like maybe the placeholder would have just stood out alone. Like if you had just had the email address up here, and then maybe inside here you included another text, please type in your email address, very faint, right? So your users, and then maybe we know these cursors, like how something is blinking. You can just put that beside, please type in your email address. I don't know. I'm trying to give the feedback based on a mental way. So I feel like maybe you can just follow me as well. Okay, so password. So just apply the same idea like across all of this. So when we say password and confirm password, well, best practice is based on UX design. Over time, two things are involved. When we tell our users to put in their password, and then we include confirm password, if there is no inclusion of this eye icon here, then maybe the confirm password would have been a great one. So this is just me rubbing minds with you, right? So if you're telling me password and then I should confirm my password again for a food ordering app, when I can just easily tap on this eye icon and probably see my password and then move over to the next stage. So I feel like giving users an extra work, like confirm your password. This could be applicable in products that has to do with maybe fintech, where you want your users to remember their password, right? So although some users like Leo and Alvan will just copy it and paste. Okay, so I'm just joking though. Okay, so this is just what I think, right? Remember password, forgot password. Yeah, I feel like your forgot password is quite faint. It looks like an inactive state, and this is not an inactive state design. A full this is like a full-fledged page. So you should probably make this brighter and maybe bring it down a bit. Remember me, okay, or continue with. So your CTA buttons, please just be consistent across all boards, and then give it enough breathing space. Remember me, forgot password. There's no breathing space in between. We're saying 5. You remember we said something about 8 and all. So just give it enough breathing space. Verify your phone number. Please just work on your CTA, your call to action button. This is awesome. Congratulations. This is awesome. So I love your use of microcopy. If you actually created these copies yourself, it's great work. Okay. Forgot password, email. Okay, so I'm seeing so many things. I know this is like a selected user state which you've designed. Great. So what if I don't know? I feel like this is a shape and then another shape. So many shapes on there. So what if you just take out this circle, the ash at the background, because I'm trying to know why we have that. So for consistency, to remember here, and you're using a corner radius, and this is an input field, and I know this is like a selection. So if you're using this kind of, if you have a corner radius, it should just be consistent across, so that doesn't look like you're designing different apps. I don't know if you understand the point I'm trying to make too. Yeah, so that is that. Okay, awesome. Open email app. Great, 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 great. I'll try another email address. Okay. Well, the same feedback I had given for your form fields, please just take note of those two. Great work. This is two below, like you need to like use your outline, sorry, your margins. So this should not be at the edge of the app. It should have enough breathing space so that like you can make it to be up here. If you can see my cursor, like you can make it to be up here. And then we have all of that. Okay. Are we doing left alignment or center? Because this looks like left in a centered way. This is left, this is left. So if you want to shift everything, let it be the same with each of them. You just work on your spacing all around. Okay. Yeah, so for this page here, this I know this is filter, this is like a search bar. You can probably make this to be a bit bigger, like make it broader, because the search button which we have here, like the search icon and these ones, they're all touching the edge of this your search bar. So what if you make this a bit bigger so that this can sit inside it very well and it doesn't look like they're fighting for space. So just give it enough breathing space. That's for this search bar here. Okay, popular. I don't know if this is a selected state, and I know I can't ask you, so I'm just giving feedback based on what I understand, what I'm saying. But this is a selected state. Okay. Red on black for a selected state. You may just want to give it another color. I can't think of any color now, but maybe like white on black or something. Well, I know you're trying to make this look like it's different from the others, but maybe you can just think of what other color would just go well here. Like what other ways can you make this popular to not be too popular on this page? Okay, so I think I've talked about this bottom nav bar. Maybe you can just bring this down a bit and the fried rice. Are we going to stay on Susan's work? Okay, so we're almost done. Okay. Okay, 26 search results. So this is if it's being logged. So maybe you can just bring this down a little bit. And then fried rice can come down, but just bring them down. If this fried rice, this and all of these details can just come to the left here, it will just sit in properly. Rate, share, save, comment. Okay, so one other thing, when designing for an active state such as this, you don't use you don't use this shade of colors because as a user, psychologically looking at it, I may feel like these are inactive states, like these buttons are not yet developed, right? And I know that this is like an active screen. So you may want to try out other colors rather than using ash, because ash, based on UI UX best practices, it looks like it's an inactive state, or maybe they are still working on this components or the features on this app. So you may just want to try out other colors for this rather than using this ash. I don't know if these are ellipses to show different images moving, but it's not too visible. Maybe you may just want to check it out. I don't know if this is a video. If this is supposed to be a video, then maybe you may want to take this icon to be at the center so that your users can know that they can tap on. This is like a video. Okay. Local rice. Okay, please just look at your typography too. I'm not sure users can read this like in a mobile screen. So imagine if I'm opening this app like this, it's hard for me to look at all of this. So maybe you may just want to increase your font size so it's more legible for your users. And then we said something about icons. If you're using icons if you're using field icons, let it be field icons. If you're using outline, let it be outline. So just for consistency, don't just mix them up. So everything will look perfect. Yeah. Great work, Susan. I know that you did not resize this the normal way. Please just resize this the normal way. Thank you. And then if you're giving this ash, I know this is gradient, but you're giving a star rating. If it's not 4, this looks like it's 4.5999. So if it's not 4, it is 5. If it's not 5, it's 3. So putting the gradient here, I don't know. Maybe you can just look at that later on. Okay, I feel like I've given Susan enough feedback. Let me hold my peace. All right. Okay, so Susan, you've gotten all the feedback, right? If you have, awesome. If you haven't, awesome still. Okay, thank you too. Oh wow, she loves me. Awesome. Okay, I love you too. Okay, again, Elvis is next. Is it the one saying he's next? Or is it my mind that is? Okay, so I could just close this now. But where is it? I think it's this one. I don't know whose app is this. Akis, I think you just shared this with me. I don't know if it's Ege's one. Okay.
Okay, where did you pick this from? I think this is his.
From Slack.
Yeah, Elvis, confirm. I think this should be yours.
Click on
Okay, it's
share
I
now.
guess on. I've found it. It's on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Elvis, how
Um.
many mentors you see?
Okay. So Elvis, firstly, I would say that it's really great work that you're doing here. I know that you may not know, I don't know if you know, but these are actually loading states which you just designed here. So this is not low fidelity, so to say. So I don't know if all of us have been on Facebook before where we have when Facebook is trying to load, like if you're on the mobile app or even the normal web app, you would see something of this sort. So these are like loading states, which is like another state like is being designed in like in UI UX. So I'm just assuming it's loading state you're doing, but I feel it's not loading state shall. Maybe it's just me that is giving you credit that you designed loading state. Okay, but great work, Elvis. Sorry, is it Elvis or Ege? Okay, which one? Okay. Uh all right. Okay, it's supposed to be okay, great. So Elvis, firstly, you have done an awesome work, great work. To put up all this creativity is not easy. So we appreciate you. Awesome. So firstly, I'll start with I know I'm seeing PNG tree. So you didn't download. You're going to be a global designer. So you don't want your client or your product owners to be seeing PNG tree or Shutterstock. So please download images from good websites, right? We mentioned all of those in the last class. So just check them out and so that someone else may not see, but I'm a designer. So I just saw it immediately, the PNG tree. So maybe you may just want to check up that. I really do not know why you're using italics, but I don't know. Maybe it's still your own idea, which is still great. So for the CTA, your call to action button is oh wow, 74. Okay. But remember what we said about when designing CTA buttons, you're designing for people who are left and right-handed. So you may want to increase the width of this CTA, right? I know you're trying to be artistic too, like putting all this stuff, which is really nice. But don't forget, your app is going to be developed by developers. So you may not want to have issues with them. It's always sweeter when the design is as simple as it can just be, right? It's great to put all of those nice things, really awesome, but I'm just looking at it too from the technical aspect too, because I've worked with some developers and they don't used to like plenty problems. Okay, so simplicity is key and it's really awesome. This can still work, but I'm just like putting it out there. You can take or leave it. Okay, awesome. So healthy food recipe. So what okay, so this is I guess this is a splash screen. Oh, okay. Welcome. Okay, welcome. Okay. I'm trying not to give feedback based on UX, but when you tell your users welcome, um, are they supposed to tap on welcome? Like when I tap on welcome, is it supposed to take me to this screen where I feel like this is okay? Elvis, where should I give you feedback on? You can just type like I don't know. Should I just give you feedback on the UI so we could just get over with it because I need to go off very soon because I don't want to go into the UX or something. Elvis, can you say something? Can you type? Can you type? Okay, do I just give the feedback in my mind? We can just move over because I don't want to seem like I'm talking plenty. But when you tell your users welcome and then get started, like so many things to do. So when I tap on welcome and then I go over here and then you get started, I'm trying to know why you're using green too because I've been looking at this green. I don't know if this is a farming website or something, but it has was a food recipe. So maybe you may just want to think about your colors. Even though I know that green is awesome, but this is, except if this is for maybe a natural, maybe fresh from the farm or agricultural product, in that kind of regard, well, maybe you may just want to look at your colors. So I'm seeing an orphan here. Sorry, a widow. Please take away this widow. Give the widow a wife. Okay, I'll make the widow a wife. Okay. So I love the icons you've used. Awesome, great, great, great. Your illustrations. But this food is green. Like, it's a green food. You're designing for humans. So when you're using green, I don't know. Well, I just feel like maybe you can just check out your colors, you know. So okay. I don't know. I mean, okay, you guys should not do this. This is almost 9 and I need to leave here. So I don't, I don't want to laugh, please. Okay, please. Um, it's okay. Thank you. Thank you all. So let me just continue before I zoom out. Okay, please, nobody should laugh at Elvis, I beg. Okay, Elvis, so I also think you can check out, you can work on your CTA buttons, like let there be some form of consistency, right? So you're not using something too big, such as this. Maybe you can just want to increase the height, I'm sorry, the width, and maybe reduce the height. You know, the way we designed, you can just use maybe 48 for your CTA and then give it like a proper width size. This is really clean, like this is really neat, like this is clean. Password should be more than 8 characters. Awesome. I love the fact that you're including this because this is one thing that most designers forget to put. And you know, there's always an extra step where they don't tell you put in alphanumeric or icons, or you know, all those details, which is cool. I'm happy you pointed that out. Like this is clean. I love your spacing here. Log in with Facebook or Google. So maybe you just want to check out your alignment so it's properly aligned. Forgot your password can be little, like you can make it to be small. Let it not be this bold. 20 pixels is too big. You can take forgot your password to be up here, like just below password should be more than, because based on information architecture, we want, if you cannot remember either of this, you should just put in your password at once. You can just tap on forgot your password and then it takes you to that flow. Okay, but I really love your negative spaces. It's quite legible. Okay, but maybe you should just look at your colors. So what you did here, why didn't you use the same thing here for search your recipe? For consistency, you can just use the same thing and then maybe make this to be smaller, and probably you can just put in, you know how we have these cursors that look like something is blinking, right? So you can just put that here, make it very, I don't know if I have any viewers. Do I have that somewhere? Okay, I'm not sure I have that somewhere close. Okay, maybe you can round your edges. I just feel you can round your edges so it's not looking too like it was just pasted. So you can just round your edges and maybe give it a little bit of shadow, very tiny. Okay, but this is plain, good, good. What's happening here? Okay, result of the search. Okay, so great. I love this user state you're including. So this is like a user state when user is typing. Awesome. Okay, yeah. So this same thing here, you can put it here and then make this smaller. Okay. Awesome. Just take these things to the left, like so that everything is aligned well. Because I really hope you're taking note of this plenty feedback. So it was here before and then you took it here. is there a reason why it's moving? Like there's a reason why it's moving. Okay, please let it not move too much. Like if this is here, you can take this here, this search bar icon. Okay. This nav bar, please, I feel like you can just, this can be better. I know this shows that this is what is active, but this can be better. Maybe you can give these different colors. You can make these ones to look inactive or unselected. Okay. So, and then this can now be green, and maybe with this on that to show that, okay, this is the selected one. Okay. Okay. Always you like spaghetti. Everywhere spaghetti, spaghetti and turkey recipe. Spaghetti, spaghetti. Okay. I don't know. This looks like a video. Okay, awesome. I love this. Like they're really designing using user state, which is great. So this is like before users start watching the video and when they start watching. Awesome, awesome. Just work on your CTA buttons, please, and your alignment. But you're doing great already. Okay, it's very visible to read through. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is great work. Just well, we've said CTA buttons. Awesome. Just work on it. Rate our recipe. Okay. Okay. So you can just put in like this what you put in here like this. Where is it? Something of this. So this usually shows that users are supposed to type. So this rectangle or this line we have here, you can also include that line in here where we have the comments, and maybe you can just put some text inside and then make it very faint. You know how we have those kind of screens where you can just say, I love the food. Like it's just going to be there. You're just giving your users that idea of how of that they should actually start typing. Because when I'm seeing leave a comment, I'm not seeing something like a cursor or a blinking this thing for me to know if I can start typing. So you may just want to include that and maybe make these shapes to be smaller so that everything is not looking for our attention. Great work, Elvis. Okay, this is share. Okay. Okay. All right. For this here, it's really hard for me to. Maybe you can just make this to be darker, or maybe you can make the background to be faint. You know how we have. You can maybe put in a background blur or something, or you can just make this pop up here to be darker so that I can easily see, because I almost would have skipped it to know that if I want to exit the app, this is where I can exit. So just work on visual hierarchy here and emphasis. So you want the emphasis to be on this pop-up. So let the emphasis be on the pop-up. Okay, I think that's all for Elvis. Great work. Well done. So, and please, our Ewedu, just help us. Thank you, sir. Okay. So I think that's all right. Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, that's all. Okay. Well done, everyone. Okay. Thank you all for your listening time.
Okay, thank you very much, Chi. Thank you very much. Okay, so guys, I really wish we could, keep doing this. Okay, but of course, I would believe you understand. You guys are, up to 200. You understand? So there wouldn't be enough time to start reviewing people's designs one by one. But we'll try as much as possible to see if we can incorporate that in classes, even if it's just one or two. But most of the things that are being pointed out are stuff you can actually apply in your own design. Some of these things that are being pointed out. Okay, so please let's take note of that and fix up what needs to be fixed up. Okay, so please, nobody should start disturbing on the channel. I'm not being promoted. Okay, I'm still going to give you guys an ample amount of time to fix what you have to fix. So like by latest Sunday, grading should be done, which means you should have fixed up what you need to fix up, so that we promote everybody in bulk. I don't want to do 1, 2, 3 promotions. I want to promote everybody at once. Okay, so please let's get to work. Okay, thank you very much, guys, for staying on the